Olá, this is topic 2.5, pretérito perfeito simples e pretérito imperfeito. This is probably going to be one of the longest presentations that we have here because now that we have knowledge of the use of both tenses, it has come the time to talk about two tenses being used simultaneously. And to start with that, we're going to begin with a revision of the use of the tenses. Starting with pretérito perfeito simples, we use it for a one-time action in the past. It is an action of short duration that was initiated in the past and concluded in the past. It did not prolong for a very long time. It was just a very simple action, like, for example, cutting the hair or signing a document. So it is considered for short duration in the past. Opposed is pretérito imperfeito, which we use for a prolonged or repeated action in the past. As you know by now, we also have other utilizations, but here, for contrast, we're going to focus mostly on these ones. We can, metaphorically speaking, consider that pretérito perfeito simples is a picture of the past, while pretérito imperfeito is a movie of the past. It is something that can give us an idea why we have two different past tenses and what we expect of the utilization of each of them. We can use both tenses simultaneously in the following occasions. 1. When there is a prolonged action in the past and a one-time action occurs in the middle of that other action that we consider as prolonged. For better understanding, I give you an example. Eu estava a ler livro quando o telefone tocou. As you can see, I highlighted, underlined here in this case, when we are using pretérito imperfeito for the action that is prolonged and pretérito perfeito for what is the one-time action. To better understand it, we have here the same sentence with the same underline, and what we know from this sentence is that the reading of the book is the action that is prolonged, that was already happening and continue to happen after the one-time action that happened in the middle of it, which is the phone to ring. So we are going to use here in this case the two tenses to speak of two actions with different lengths in time in the past. In number 2, pretérito imperfeito can be utilized to make the description of something that was prolonged in the past, and then pretérito perfeito can speak of the action that interrupted that long duration and made it not a reality in the present anymore. So that gave end to that continuity. And we have here yet another example. A Maria tinha o cabelo comprido e usava tranças. Depois cortou o cabelo. So, again, for the analysis of this sentence, what we have here is that we have Maria for prolonged time in the past having the description that we are seeing here, cabelo comprido e usava tranças. We already talked about the physical characterization in the past, so this also falls in that direction. Then there was one time action in the past, the cutting of the hair, that gave an end to that characterization that we had for Maria. As I mentioned before, cutting the hair is an action that we consider for one time. Even if you do it regularly, each time is one time. And that is what I am explaining exactly here in this bottom part of the video. What we are going to do now is we are going to explore still pretérito perfeito simples e pretérito imperfeito, but we are going to be looking into ways to view the past. When we talk about actions that happened in the past but only took a few hours or a few days, but we don't quite have them as a habit of the past, we can use both tenses to describe those actions. And when I am talking here about hours or days, we can be talking here, for example, like vacation that took a few days but are not a habit, it's a one time in one location, or for example other actions like the one that I'm going to present that sometimes just take a few hours. The action is watching a movie. So we have here the same situation, but looking at it with two different tenses. In the first sentence, ontem à noite vimos filme, we consider the action completely concluded in the present. It was initiated in the past, it was concluded in the past, it is no longer a reality of the present. And in the second sentence, ontem à noite estávamos a ver filme, we consider the action as something that was prolonged in time in the past for a few hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter. What we were doing was watching a movie. For a good comparison, perhaps what we can say is that when we use pretérito perfeito simples to talk about an action that was completely finished in the past, it's like in English when you use the past tense, and for the action that is described using pretérito imperfeito, it's like using the continuous in English. The answer to that question of what you did or what you are doing is usually going to match with the answer. So when usually you have a question in the past tense, you are likely to answer in the past tense. And when you have a question in the past continuous, here our imperfeito, it is also likely that you are going to end up answering with pretérito imperfeito as well. So once again, like I said before, you can consider the action that was prolonged in the past or finished in the past and completely concluded in the present for something that happened for a few hours or a few days, as long as it was not a habit of the past.